Before we hop into 1995, it seems I missed something big in 1994. MTV held a very short show called Rock the Rock, in which they brought kids to Alcatraz and had them play Sonic 3 and Knuckles in prison. All of them compete for a high score, with the winner being granted Sega products for a year. Absolutely insane. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube. It seems to be just one 20-minute episode, but still, why Alcatraz? I mean, I guess probably so that people would talk about it, like I'm doing right now. Anyway, on to 1995. This was an interesting year for Sonic. This time, there was no mainline Sonic game. Instead, this seems to be the year of his friends having spin-offs. The biggest Sonic game, and closest to mainline we got, is in 1995. It's Knuckles Chaotix. This was a game released on the Sega 32X, an add-on to the Genesis, that sold rather poorly. And due to it selling poorly, so did Knuckles Chaotix. To make it even worse, unless you have a 32X or use an emulator of one, this game has not really been released on other systems, meaning it is unlikely that many people have played it. Before we jump into the game though, let's look at the manual. So Japanese-wise, it explains that when Angel Island fell in Sonic 3, the island it hit had a connection to Angel Island, and that with Angel Island back in the air, Knuckles has noticed a lot of changes to that island directly below him. It also explains that an ancient civilization vanished when they tried to use a Stone of Power. So Knuckles I'm gonna go check out that island below and see if it has connection to Angel Island. Now we know the Stone of Power is the Master Emerald and that the civilization that vanished was Knuckles' people. Something new though is it keeps calling the Master Emerald Pillar for some reason. I don't know why at this time, but I'm just pointing that out. Meanwhile, Eggman, he also is checking out this new island, and here he finds a mystical ring, and he discovers that indeed the island was once part of the Echidna civilization. Now, Eggman wants to use this ring to find the Master Emerald, but one thing that stands out to me here is that apparently the Master Emerald had been on the island before, but the gods moved it to Angel Island. And apparently Angel Island came from the heavens, and that's some wild stuff. I had no idea there was even gods in Sonic. So Eggman built a base and crystallized the ring he found into a newish thing called the Dark Ring. He then also developed ring power that creates a space-time continuum between the rings. And in this context, I'm not really sure what the hell that even means. So let's meet our characters. We have Knuckles, of course. We know him. We love him. But then we have newcomers like Espio, who is 17, a detective, and apparently jealous of Knuckles for the relationship he has with Angel Island. Mighty, the armadillo. We actually met him before in Sega Sonic Arcade. He is 16, he loves peace, and he hates violence, which is far different than he's portrayed in upcoming comics. Vector is 16, he likes music, dancing, and basketball. He is a happy and kind companion who is there because he believes in the existence of God and therefore is on the island to learn more, which is again wild. Now we have a second mention of God, and I guess we have different people who believe and don't believe in God. Anyway, and Charmy B, he has an ego, he is fast, and doesn't seem to have a listed age, and he's apparently gone fast enough to exceed the speed of sound. I'm gonna call a BS on Charmy. Dr. Robotnik is the same. But look who is back. It's Metal Sonic. Same CPU, but a new body, as his last one was broken. Now, in the English version of the manual, it says there's a new amusement park on Angel Island called Carnival Island, and that because Knuckles is the guardian of the island, it's his job to make sure nothing goes wrong. What a load of horsecock. That doesn't even make sense for Knuckles. So Knuckles starts patrolling for trouble and finds his friends, Mighty, Vector, Espio, and Charmy, all captured by Eggman. Again, a load of horsecock. Knuckles doesn't even have friends yet, except for maybe Sonic, but at this point, calling Sonic and him friends could be a stretch. Then on to the characters. Knuckles, guardian of the Emerald Pillar again. Vector, loves his music. Mighty is strong and hates weakness. Charmy has an age here and it's 16 and he's here for flowers. And Espio, who values his freedom above all else. Which, fair enough, I guess. Also, I just wanted to point this out, before we had YouTube walkthroughs and such, if you were stuck in a game, you had a few things you could do. You could find some sort of guide or a tip page, you could talk to your friends to see if they played the same game, or, in this manual here, you could call this number where someone would help you through that part, which is absolutely wild. What a job. I would totally do that job. Graphically, the game looks pretty gorgeous. The sprites are well done, and you can really tell how much the 32X was boosting what could be shown. Plus, I really love the trippy colors. Gameplay-wise, though, it is weird. Levels are often kind of long, and there are 5 acts per zone. And you don't pick the zone, it is randomized. Due to this, there isn't the kind of progression you have in other Sonic games where it progressively gets harder. Instead, the whole game is around the same difficulty. On top of that, these levels are long and have a lot more verticalness and climbing involved. Some acts took me almost 8 minutes. The game also works with a weird rubber band mechanic. Basically, there are 2 characters who are attached to these rings at all times. So that means your momentum and movements are tied together, although you can stay in place to solve puzzles or gain speed, and you can also throw each other. There are also very few enemies in this game, so honestly it's mostly a slow, chill game. I said mostly slow because you can actually get going fast when you do. The power-ups are strange. While some are good, like the one that makes you big, others are actually a hindrance to you. Same with your allies. You can get 2 bad partners, Bomb and Heavy, both who hinder you. Character-wise, though, we have the previously mentioned Chaotix team of Vector, Charmy, Espio, and Mighty. We also, of course, have the main boy himself, Knuckles, which is who I played as. And I usually had Espio as my partner, although sometimes I had Vector. At last, you make it to the final boss, which is Metal Sonic. Now, Metal Sonic fights you, kinda. You just gotta destroy his machine to beat him. But then he isn't beaten. No sir. He ends up using the dark ring Eggman had to become a more powerful version of himself. This huge red super cool looking version. This red Metal Sonic is known as Metal Sonic Kai, and I think it's a fucking dope ass look. He isn't too hard of a boss though, and eventually he is beaten and that ends the game. Now, there are a few other games that came out this year, all for the Game Gear. Sonic Drift 2, a sequel to Sonic Drift, which is a lot better than that one, and has more characters and truly feels like a mix of Pole Position and Mario Kart. And it even has Metal Sonic playable. Then we have 2 Tails-centered games. There's Tails Sky Patrol, and it's a fly and dodge obstacles and grab stuff kind of game, and Tails Adventure, which is a far better game in which Tails kills enemies in his path with bombs. Last off, we have Sonic Labyrinth. This game resembles Sonic 3D Blast, a game that hasn't come out yet, but is going for a similar thing. It's an isometric game, and you have to collect all the keys to get to the next zone. But Robotnik stole your shoes and replaced them with slow shoes, which is one of the dumbest plots I've ever heard, but that kind of means sometimes the games really are still going for that Sonic shoes makes him fast. And I hate that, so I'm gonna ignore that. This game has quite a bit of pinball mechanics as well as puzzles on how to get the keys, and honestly I didn't hate it as much as I thought. The premise still sucks though. This was also the year of bootleg Sonic plushies, including that often memed Metal Sonic plushie that looks crazy. Alright, on to the comics.
Sonic Milk Ice from Topper.
This year, Archie Comics had 4 very short spin-off comics. One for Tails, in which they gave him his very own Australian team, and his own Australian enemy, Crocbot. And Tails meets with Knuckles' great-grandfather, who tells him they had a crazy future flying city like in the Jetsons, and then a comet came and only Angel Island managed to escape. which is very different from everything else, so once again I'm gonna ignore it. We have a spin-off that followed the 8-bit Triple Trouble game, which is what introduced us to Knack the Weasel, also known as Sniper, and Sonic in Your Face, which actually seemed to be about Sally. And then there was the Sonic and Knuckles special, of course. Now, as for the Archie Sonic itself, it ran from issues 18 to 29. It had a fake-out wedding between Sally and Sonic that was really just a play. An issue with Sonics from different universes in which the main menace was Robo-Robotnik, a Robotnik from a different universe, and he teamed up with that one evil Sonic with the leather jacket who fights against freedom. Archie Sonic also now has bad art from kids as well. And this fucking thing. Robotnik created it and it killed him and he died, and then it fucking flew off away for good. We get a glimpse into the future where Sonic and Sally have kids. And also yet another reference to Sonic's shoes being what makes him fast, as Tails steals the shoes briefly, and again, I'm gonna pretend that doesn't exist. Robotnik isn't dead, by the way. Of course he isn't. That would be insane for this, so he is back. And there's this issue where they are trapped as animals in the zoo. Also, the writing is starting to feel better now, like they actually care a little bit. Some of my favorite panels are these. Ow! What'd you do that for, Sonic? Because I felt like it, that's why. Tails, come on, man. I'm trying to explain why I slapped you around. I don't want to hear it, Sonic. And who can forget this photo of Sonic covered in the shadows singing the theme for the TV show Cops? Or, this time Tails falls in love with a robot who is pretending to be captured, and she says, "My name's Fiona." And he says, "Well, you're Freona now." Oh god, it's so bad, it's good. Sonic fights Metal Sonic again, but in this issue, he is called Mecha Sonic, which goddamn can we please make up our minds on some of this stuff. And of course, this does introduce Amy, but Sally is still the main girl of Archie Comics. Some other characters get some spotlight, like Bunny, who dresses as a robot, despite already being half robot, and Sleuth Doggy Dog, who I cannot take seriously. Years later, Archie and Ken Penders, the writer, got into a legal battle, and Ken won somehow, but he got to keep the original characters he created for Sonic Archie. And this includes Sleuth Doggy Dog, and also this Zoot Shoot. It's a tiny shoot to the Master Emerald. I don't know why the fuck Ken cared enough to make sure he got that, but he has the Zoot Shoot. He also has Dulcie, this Dragon Tails looking motherfucker that feels like it doesn't belong at all. At some point, Sally gets roboticized, and then they unroboticize her in a flash, apparently. And it's fucking Dulcie that beats Robotnik. Let's move on to a better comic. Let's go to Sonic the Comic from the UK. This went on from issues 42 to 67. This, as usual, wasn't all Sonic. We had Streets of Rage, a Knuckles spin-off about kicking everyone off the island who wanted to use it as a theme park. A Dr. Robotnik spin-off where he has a nightmare about being kind and having a good day. More of Marco's Magic Football, whatever that is. More Shinobi, more of a Tails spin-off where he's in different universes. Some dude named Sparkster, more Kid Chameleon, more Echo, and more Decapitated Attack, as well as more Sega reviews and more frightful fan images. Story-wise, there's one where the Death Egg kills Sonic, but it turns out to be a simulation and not the real thing. Then we got one of my favorite stories that not only holds up today, but is super relevant to things happening right now. The squirrel is angry at this duck, because the duck likes Robotnik and praises him despite all Robotnik has done. And then Robotnik's dudes show up and the duck is like, "Hey, I love Robotnik." And then his robots are like, "Well, then you'll make a fine badnik," and they throw him into the machine, and it takes away his free will and roboticizes him for Robotnik. Like, gee, you think because you kiss the ass of a bad dude, he isn't going to be bad to you too? They capture the squirrel, who is anti-Robotnik, and you know what happens? He manages to maintain his free will and be enhanced with Robotnik's tools. Plus, he was already enhanced as a cyberneck he was a stronger one, a stronger Badnik called a Cybernik, so he's even more badass. And now he's a super Badnik who fights against Robotnik, who created him, and he sometimes helps Sonic and team, but mainly he's just his own vigilante dude fighting battles against Robotnik. And he is called Short Fuse. And he's for sure one of the fucking coolest characters. How cool is that? He's fucking fantastic. Speaking of my favorite characters, Metal Sonic is back, boys. But in this comic, he's called Metallix, which is fine, I guess. I just really need them to stick to a name. I know I said this was the year of Sonic's friends, but actually maybe this is the year of Metal Sonic, because he is quite prevalent this year. And I like this look too. It looks dope. I just wish he had fingers that were still sharp. Metallix was doing fine against Sonic and Knuckles and tried to steal the Master Emerald, but then Sonic went supersonic and kicked his ass. Also, Angel Island has some old special technology in it that allows Knuckles to do various things with it, like fight the Death Egg. The island almost doubles as a spaceship because it can fly, shoot lasers, and has force fields. I think it's pretty cool. Also, Shadow isn't the first hedgehog to use a gun. Sonic is. It's not his regular thing, just sometimes characters will take guns away from Badniks and use them. Knuckles is letting Sonic use Angel Island to hold refugees from Robotnik's war. He doesn't like it too much. I mean, he did offer, but he doesn't like it that much. But they don't have homes to go to, so that's why he's letting them. Also, he meets the Chaotix, who this time include Knack the Weasel. But it turns out Knack is a traitor working for Metallix. That's right, not only is Metallix back, but he is giant and red and has a ton of himself spilt, and they are called the Brotherhood of Metallix. To which Knuckles responds, "Oh flippin' heck." He then grabs a gun and starts blasting, and they win and get away, sorta. But like the Brotherhood of Metallix is for sure still alive and doing better than ever. And Porker Lewis tries to end them with a bomb when they attempt to take over the Miracle Planet from Sonic CD, but then he gets trapped there, and Sonic and friends gotta wait for the planet to return to save Porker. And apparently that's a whole month. So during that time, Robotnik makes a powerful robot commander who has the same mind as him, and he's awesome looking, and his name is Brutus. But Brutus is too effective and might be a better leader, and both through jealousy and stupidity, Robotnik keeps Brutus from actually doing a good job. Meanwhile, Knuckles meets someone from his tribe who's apparently not dead, and his name is Zachary. It's actually Dr. Zachary, but still Zachary is a very lame name to have when you are a mysterious person from a lost ancient civilization. Zack tricks Knuckles, which is something apparently everyone does, and then he takes over the island and uses a robot to break the Master Emerald. And we don't know how this ends yet, because the next issue is in a different year, so we will find out in 1996. Meanwhile, Miracle Planet is back, and it sure looks different, and like Metal Sonic's head, and also, Porker is acting weird. And again, we don't know how this plays out till 1996. So, let's move on to 1996 then, shall we?